Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Jan Szerwiński. On the anniversary of the Velvet Revolution, a landmark event that allowed Czechs and Slovaks to break up with their communist past and propelled both nations into greater prosperity and European integration, both the Czech Republic and Slovakia face a complicated political reality. In the Czech Republic, the new populist government is being formed after recent elections, while in Slovakia, Prime Minister Robert Fico is facing a backlash over holiday cancellation and his increasingly illiberal and pro-Russian policies. With the so-called Czech Revolution in Slovakia and uncertainty in the Czech Republic, what is next for the two Central European countries? Joining us now is Rasťo Kužel, director at Memo 98. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
So the situation is rather difficult. Would you say that the ideals that underpin the Velvet Revolution are still intact? And to what extent are they being upheld by the people rather than the governments?
Well, let me tell you perhaps at the very beginning that I was among the students in 1989 standing at the square and using the keys to tell the then communist government to go. And so I remember very well what sort of values we had in mind, when we were standing at those squares. I don't think that we should say that these values disappeared. Obviously, I think this was the best moment that could have happened to both countries, because it really meant that both countries started walking towards the path of democracy. Obviously, we could discuss whether everything that we were hoping for has been accomplished, but I think I was very proud, and I was again among those more than 40,000 people standing in the rain in Bratislava, and there were many more around Slovak cities, who actually again showed up for this 36th anniversary. I, of course, followed what was happening in Prague, and I think it just shows that, democracy is not history, it is a living responsibility.
So now let's talk about the Czech Republic first, because the elections there are far more recent and we are still waiting for the government to be fully formed. Now, Andrej Babiš is facing accusations of conflict of interest. The president has actually said, well, if these accusations cannot be addressed, let somebody else be nominated for prime minister instead. Do you think we're likely to face a prolonged crisis there? Or is this simply a matter of formality and eventually we will have Andrej Babiš as prime minister?
I think this was also present in the previous Andrej Babiš government. He is indeed an owner of Agrofert, which has quite a lot of businesses in the region. So this is, in that sense, nothing new. I think Andrej Babiš declared that he was ready to resolve the conflict of interest, and now, obviously, from the president's side, obviously they would like to see, and they actually asked Andrej Babiš to declare this publicly, how he wants to resolve this conflict of interest issue. So I think we still need probably some more time until this will be resolved, but I don't expect that this would lead to some major crisis. I think it will be resolved. There are different ways how this could be resolved. Obviously, there could be a long discussion with lawyers whether this will be resolved in the best possible way, meeting the laws and constitutions. But I don't expect that this could be something which would prevent the emerging coalition from becoming actually the government and taking the power.
Some people say the coalition partners could be actually a bigger problem there. In particular, many people feel strongly about the question of helping Ukraine. Recently, when Speaker Mr. Okamura removed the Ukrainian flag from Parliament building, he's the leader of the SPD party, by the way, one of the coalition partners, there was a strong reaction from other MPs, right?
Indeed, but we need to remember that both coalition partners, SPD that you mentioned, and also the motorists, I don't think they really have the cards to significantly influence the way how the next government will be actually behaving. Certainly, I think we can see that Andrej Babiš is a more sort of pragmatic politician. He is the one who will be basically ready to strike deals, but I do not expect that he will join, the two-member coalition of Mr. Fico and Mr. Orban, in every single way that this two-member coalition has been sort of behaving so far. So I do expect that there may be, that there may be some small deviation from the current support of Ukraine, but Andrej Babiš will look at this as a businessman. So when he will see that it is good for Czechia, it's good for him as a businessman, he will continue supporting. If he sees that this is not the case, then there may be some sort of small deviation from this current support. But again, I don't expect that this would be a major shift in the foreign policy, and I don't expect that either of these two smaller parties could actually cause significant diversion from the current path of support of Ukraine.
Meanwhile, in Slovakia, Mr. Fico has actually cancelled the holiday celebrating the events of 1989, and this has caused quite a significant backlash. Why did he decide that this holiday is no longer needed?
So it's what he did was, or what the ruling coalition did, was basically turning this anniversary. It is still a holiday, but it's not a day off. And why he did this? Basically, he was very vocal in the past that he has not even recognized that 17th November happened. He basically maintains that, even he mentioned this at a meeting with students, that this was supposed to be like some kind of communist-driven coup d'etat, that was basically orchestrated from inside the Communist Party, which obviously, is not truth. I again can say I was standing there in '98, and if it were to be a sort of communist-driven, coup d'etat, then it would have looked very differently, in my view. I think what it shows is that, on one side we had thousands of people, almost 90,000 of people actually standing outside in the rain, and remembering and commemorating this important day, while Fico and his party basically bussed around 1,500 supporters to Nitra, to an inside event. And so I think it really shows the two Slovakias that we have at the moment. On one side, now we basically demonstrate not only with keys, but as you also mentioned, with the chalk. And this needs to be said, that Mr. Fico is discovering that the most dangerous opponent is a teenager writing the truth on the pavement, which again sparked this chalk revolution. Now many people basically use chalk and write messages to the government. And so, as you said, he's facing a real challenge, but I'm really glad that people showed up, and basically we are showing that it's one side is the civic energy, on the other side is the manufactured loyalty, that we saw over the weekend.
And the story of this student, actually, it is quite fascinating, because here we have a 19-year-old who decided to write a few words of protest. Lo and behold, the next day he's being interrogated by police officers as if he was some sort of major criminal. We had comments from government members comparing him to the would-be assailant who tried to assassinate Fico a while back. Now, what does it tell us about the situation there? Does it actually reflect the fact that, the Fico government is, in certain ways, moving away from these ideals of the Velvet Revolution and is trying to implement a rather different manner of governance?
I actually don't think that Mr. Fico himself ever believed in these values. As again we discussed at the beginning, that he publicly is known to say that he has not even recognized that this day happened in the Slovak history. So what it shows is basically, that first of all, it was clearly an overreaction with basically taking this young student for police interrogation. So it really shows that the ruling coalition understands and the ruling party understands that this is really a huge challenge. Especially when we talk about the young people protesting against this government and doing it again in a very similar fashion as 36 years ago. Just with the chalk and writing, perhaps their claim is that it was a vulgar message that this young student wrote on the pavement. But it needs to be remembered that young people are basically sometimes expressing themselves in this way, and so I fully defend this way how he wanted to basically demonstrate and again it's like
freedom of speech essentially, right? Unfortunately, we do have our limitations here. We have run out of time. Nevertheless, it was a truly fascinating discussion. Rasťo Kužel was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us here today and sharing your insight.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
And I'm Andrej Babiš. You're watching TVP World. Please do stay with us.